I quit my full-time job. I wanted to go through and kind of work for myself, work from home. I eventually started to figure it out. And I figured that, you know what, somebody else is probably going through this exact same thing. Like they probably want to know how to start a business and work for themselves, start email lists, how they can create a digital product. And I'm like, let me just go on YouTube and just start sharing about how I've been able to do it. I would literally critique how I looked, how my cheeks looked, how my face looked, and I didn't really like the video. So the more I did it, the more comfortable I got. Just me posting gave me the confidence to be like, don't worry about that. Just continue to post and just continue to show up. So I think I worked through it myself just by being consistent.
All right. Welcome, Kenniqua. I am so excited to talk to you today. You know that I know that you are out there being brave on video. So I'm really excited. When you said, XayLi, I want to be a part of this podcast, I was like, hey, yes. Kenniqua does use video and she's been using video for a few years, but we're going to get everything, all of the juice and the info from Kenniqua rather than me sharing like what I have seen. I want to hear it all from you, and I know the people do too. So Kenniqua Jones, tell us how you got started.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. I'm definitely honored to be speaking with you. Yeah, so I started really my video journey back in about 2020 when I decided that, okay, I'm going to take the things that I'm learning as an entrepreneur and I'm just going to hop on YouTube. So it was right in January. I said January 1st. I'm going to go ahead and get on video despite being nervous, despite being an entrepreneur, and also being, I would say, slightly insecure because I had my youngest child, which she's 6 now. At the time, she was about maybe like 3 or so, but I had gained over 100 pounds. And so I was very, very insecure about who I actually saw on the camera. But I was listening to a podcast. I think it was Amy Porterfield, where she kind of talked about her weight loss or her weight journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she talked about her weight journey, and she talked about how that she thought it would be, and this was so long ago, so I don't want to butcher her words, but how she talked about how it would be pretty selfish of her to kind of not show up just because of that. And so I'm like, you know what, that's kind of true. So I decided to go ahead and just jump on camera and just started recording YouTube videos, just sharing my knowledge and my experience to be able to help other entrepreneurs start their businesses.
Yes, I love that. I love that. So I want to go back and just touch on something that you said, because it's something that I've also experienced when I first got started in the online space. My goal was to help women feel confident in themselves. It was to help them like feel better along their journey of wellness and fitness and beauty. That's all the things that I started with like way back in 2009. And then I got onto YouTube in 2012, deleted that channel, and then restarted in 2015. I say all that to say when I first got started, like you could go back on YouTube and see like me gaining, losing. Like I've morphed into so many different versions of myself. Mm-hmm. And I remember in 2020, I gained weight during the pandemic, and I felt like everyone knows me as this fit girl with this snatched waist, and I don't have that anymore. How do I still show up? Like, because what I was seeing on the camera wasn't what I had in my head, like the version of myself that I had in my head. And it resonated so much with me when you said that you didn't like what you were seeing on camera wasn't necessarily like, you know, maybe what you were thinking about yourself, because you see yourself on camera. So correct. I feel like video is such a self-awareness journey as well as business. So I feel like them combined, oh my gosh, like you're going to grow so much faster because you're also challenging yourself in so many different ways, right? Speak to someone who, you know, like tell us a little bit about that. Like aside from hearing Amy, and I remember when Amy was not using video either. And I'm like, damn, if she got on camera, she would kill it, because the combination of video and audio, like having a podcast and also being on camera, I feel like it's such a powerful combination. Tell us a little bit more about how you processed that moment, because I know there are a lot of people listening that feel the same way as well.
Absolutely. I think it was more so just about just doing it. So the more I did it, the more comfortable I got. Because
Mhm.
initially when I was going through and I was posting videos, I would literally critique my how I looked on the video. So how I looked, how my cheeks looked, how my face looked, and I didn't really like the video. So sometimes it would be like, "Oh, do I even want to post that video because I look super blown up in that video or it doesn't look good, but I posted it anyway." And so the more I recorded the video, it helped me to build confidence in myself to be like, you know what? Nobody even cares about any of that. So let me
True.
just continue to post. And then I did end up losing a few pounds. I still haven't lost my whole 100 pounds I gained, but I ended up losing a little bit. But just me posting gave me the confidence to be like, don't worry about that. Just continue to post and just continue to show up. So I think I worked through it myself just by being consistent.
I love that. I love, love, love that. So many gems in there. First of all, push through, show
Yes.
up. And the beautiful thing about this journey, I think that we all forget, we think about the one video versus the puzzle that you're building, like the pieces of the puzzle that you're building, and that you are going to grow and change and evolve along the way. And that's
Absolutely.
okay. 'Cause a lot of times we like to hide and create that picture of success when, it's so mind-blowing to do it on the forefront and inspire others along the way. So thank you for sharing that, because that's really an intricate thing that stops people a lot from getting on camera. And
Absolutely.
gosh, yeah, it's not an easy thing to process specifically. So I want to know, you said that you were building your business along the way while you were sharing on YouTube. I love that. That takes bravery as well. So you were building and also building what you were learning. Can you tell us about your audience that you were talking to, and, what you figured that they needed to know along that journey?
Sure. So when I first got onto YouTube, kind of go back a little bit from there. So I quit my full-time job. I was working in a call center and I quit my full-time job back at the end of 2015. And so I quit my job because I wanted to go through and kind of work for myself, work from
Yeah.
home, and I decided that I was just going to try to figure it out.
Yes.
Well, what happened was that initially it started off pretty rough, but I eventually started to figure it out. And as I was figuring it out, a lot of times I was just sitting at my desk by myself. I was working, I was showing up, but ultimately I was just alone by myself. And I figured that, you know what, somebody else is probably going through this exact same thing. Like they probably want to know how to start a business and work for themselves and how they could start email lists, how they can create a digital product. And I'm like, let me just go on YouTube and just start sharing about how I've been able to do it. And if I can tell people how I've been able to do it, maybe it will go through and help other people. And so that's really where that stemmed from. Like, okay, if I'm doing it, I can teach other people how to
Yeah.
do it too and just share content. And that's how that really started.
I love that. So I want to know, like, along that journey, what did you feel like was unique about you? Like, what was different about you versus other people that were in the same lane, sharing the same things? Like, what made you stand out? What made you the go-to channel in your space?
The funny thing about it is I never really thought about that. When I went onto
Mhm.
YouTube, I never thought about subscribers. I never thought about views. I really just wanted to go through and just post a video that I figured would help someone. And so I never
Mhm.
thought about, I think even to this day, and I'm like 3, 4 years in, I don't think about what makes me different. I don't even know if I can even answer that question to figure out like what makes me this person. Like, no, I don't think I know what makes me different. It's just the fact of that I just like to go through and share content that I feel like help other people. And so I never really took that approach to figure out what would make me different, you know?
Yeah, well, okay, so usually, like, what makes you unique or different, your audience will tell you if you don't know initially, like, what that thing is, right? So maybe it's something that you've heard from your audience, whether it is that the way you do things is very different or because of your specific journey. So in me looking at your channel, I remember there was a time where you were teaching other virtual assistants.
Mhm.
Other was it no, it was other people who are looking to build call centers. Please correct me if I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
actually, it was both. It was both. I actually
Okay.
do both of them
Okay,
on
so I'm
there
not
as
wrong.
well.
Woo,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so like that could be because you have a unique audience. You chose your audience, and because of
Mhm.
your own journey, you decided to share things that were specific to. So that's what I'm basically asking. Like
Okay.
maybe so obviously if you're on YouTube, hopefully you're in a specific niche and you're aware of that niche and the other people
Mhm.
that make content that is similar to yours kind of thing, right? And so it's like, okay, so what's different about our community or our space versus another community or space? Like I can answer that question out the gate. Like, so when you think about you, your channel or your community or the people that you serve, like what do you feel is different about that space or the space that you're nurturing?
I think it's just that everyone is kind of on their own journey and on their own path.
I
So
love
it's
that.
it's that we're all doing it and figuring it out together. So it's like when I first started the
Mm,
channel, I was really heavy in like what you were saying, like teaching call centers because that's what
hmm
I was doing very heavy. But at the same time, and I think I always remember when you said this, and this was years and years ago when it was in one of the Facebook groups, and you had posted something about your business, and I'm like, yeah, I have two businesses, and
hmm
I always remember you saying that I don't know how you do it. It's hard enough to run one business, and then it didn't dawn on me until years later that I'm like, you know what? She's really right. It is really hard to just run just one, and me trying to show up for two businesses,
Yeah.
excuse me, was very difficult. But even now, with me kind of shifting from the call center to now, I'm sharing more about what I do in my other business, which is doing
Right.
website design and system setup. So I think it's just the journey of that we all go through of just going through entrepreneurship and like the
Yeah.
ebbs and flows of entrepreneurship.
I love that. I love that. And it made me want to ask as well. Just like, well, before I asked and share with everyone, like, how, where do you find me along this amazing journey that you've been on? Because I think we'd be doing a disservice because we're talking like, like friends, like, we're just catching up, which we are, to be honest. But also, uh, gosh, I forgot my question. No, I did not. Pivoting. So what you're describing to me sounds like a bit of a pivot or a shift. Like, can you share a bit about that? Like, I've done that and I know what goes into it. It's not the easiest thing in the world. And I think a lot of people, even some people that might be listening, are currently going through or processing a pivot. And it's not the easiest thing.
Mhm.
So are you going through a pivot? Because I want to be respectful of where you are in your journey and what you're doing.
Yes, I would say yes. I think as I have been posting consistently on YouTube for years, I think that also too, I've become a greater entrepreneur. So, like the things that I know now and the things that I do now are totally different from when I was posting on video number 1. And
Definitely.
it's just like the evolution, and I'm hoping that even in the pivot that and it appears so that some of the audience, they're like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna go right along with you," you know? And
Yeah.
you always hope that your audience will move and grow with you, but it's
Yeah.
but it's like where you kind of when I started YouTube, it's like I started at 0. I started from the bottom, and so I'm hoping that over this time that the audience will be growing with me, and if some of the videos, they can catch them in between and continue on the journey with me as well too. So, yeah, I would definitely say definitely a pivot that, like you said, is not easy, initially, but I think
Yeah.
that in the long run, it will work
It'll
out.
clear itself up. It'll
Yeah.
it'll it'll become really clear. But here's what I also want to share when you are like in that process of pivoting, the power of being okay with the people that don't want to take the journey either.
Mhm. Mhm.
right? Like,
Yes.
because a lot of times we let that hold us back. Like, I remember when I was shifting from creating a lot of Canva content because I no longer wanted to create content about Canva.
Mhm.
Because I realized for my business, it wasn't bringing in the audience that I desired to serve. And so it was so scary me deciding I'm not going to create that kind of content. It was bringing in a lot of subscribers, but I decided I didn't want to create content about Canva anymore. And I can go back and think like, oh wow, like, well, first of all, they're still some of our best performing videos, but
Mhm.
being willing to release the type of a quality of person that you might attract versus who you really want to attract, like, is there any fear in that for you, or like.
It definitely is. I think more so because I had been thinking about pivoting for a minute before I actually did it because of what you just said. I was scared to pivot because I'm like, "Oh, if I pivot from this content, maybe they won't come and watch these videos, or maybe I can't make my way in the other field that I want to." But
Yeah.
what made me the confirmation that I got as far as the pivot, and this is just it's incredible to me of how the power of all of this actually works. But what made me say solidify that, okay, no, I'm definitely pivoting, was when HoneyBook just recently had their HoneyBook Summit.
Yes.
And in the summertime, when they were announcing and they were trying to get everything together, they asked me to be one of the
Yes.
workshop leaders. And I'm like, out of the content that I create, what are the chances that they ask me to be able
Yes.
to do that? And so I'm like, okay, I have HoneyBook that I'm doing that
That's
workshop
amazing.
leader for, which was amazing. I had such a wonderful time. I was so blessed, and it was just an honor, a privilege to be able to do that. And it was that, and then at the same time, Squarespace in my space, because I'm a Squarespace website designer as well, and I wanna create content on that. Another, creator, business owner that's in that space, that's actually huge in that space, was like, "Hey, we looked at some of your videos, and we think that you'll be a great affiliate for our company." And so now I've done lives with her, um, and that was like, okay, 2 companies reached out to me about something that I'm trying to get into that I haven't yet really posted a whole bunch of videos about. I've just talked about HoneyBook countless times, but I haven't, like, gone all in as I do now. But I'm like, "Okay, this just solidifies that they're pulling me to go shift, so I it's time to
Yes.
go shift."
It's funny how when we put a silent intention into place, how God will allow for things to just like come together, even if you're not like you're doing the work that's required,
Exactly.
but He's bringing the opportunities. And so that's exactly what I see happening for you. And I'm so excited. Like, hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I do want to talk about the connection between your videos and those opportunities that you've been attracting. But before I go into that, I kind of also want to just bring the audience back to maybe like where along the journey of like you wanting to create or be on YouTube, like where did you come across my content? Or I can't remember. I know we spoke about this before, but girl, the way my memory works. I
Yes.
would love to share that so that they have a bit of a baseline of like.
Yeah, so I was prior to even going on YouTube, I had an online course. So I already had an online course, and it was on Thinkific. And I'm like, okay, I want to kind of explore the Thinkific communities, but I'm like, do I really want to upgrade my plan for that? I don't even know what it looks like. And so I went to YouTube and I typed in Thinkific communities, and your video popped up. And I started watching the video. I said, okay, she explained this. This was great. And so then I just started looking at some of your other videos because I'm like, okay, she's one of us. And so I looked and I'm like, okay, yeah, she's cool. So then I started going through and looking at some more of your other binging some of your other content. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I found my other person, subscribed. And then I just started watching more of your content. But I think the thing that really made it for me when it came to you was that because then I started following you on Instagram, but how you would respond. And
Mm.
so, like, even now, I try to mirror, like, my behavior beyond,
Yes.
to that because
And you're so good
before
at it.
yeah, before you had I'm pretty sure before you had any assistant or anything, because that was way back when, that you would always respond. And I know one time I had sent you a message, and then I think I had replied to an email, and you're like, "Yeah, Kenniqua, I saw your message." And I'm like, "How did she know
I
on
know my people.
email that that was me?"
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Okay." She's really XayLi is really engaged with her people, and so I never mind interacting with your content because I know that you genuinely are going to answer, you care about the comments and everything that you get. So I was like, okay, I'm sold.
I do. I do. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. I like to think about my community as if we're in a room together and we're talking. And I feel like, and I know it's going to get harder as we all grow to keep that same vibe and consistency. But I feel like if you're talking to me and we're in a real room together and there's no like you're saying, "Hi, XayLi, I love your content," and I'm just like, I feel like
Yeah.
that's rude, right? Like, so I think about my community and my business and my online just, presence and space in that way. And so I always make room to nurture community and to see
Mhm.
people because I know how it feels to feel unseen. That's probably trauma speaking. But
Yeah.
in essence, what made you, because I know you were in one of our cohorts of what we now call the camera confidence class. Back then, I think it was package your presence for profit, which is the same concept, which you're obviously doing right now. Go Kenniqua, killing it. But what made you go from a subscriber, going over to Instagram, responding to an email, and then maybe even becoming, not maybe, you were in class, being a paid, paying to learn in this space?
Well, I think it just goes back to your videos and the value that you were already given through your video content. But then again, I knew that I never felt I never felt sold to. I
Mm,
always just felt that you were given true value. Even when I reached out with a question, you would just answer the question. It never was like some type of like sales pitch,
mhm,
connected to it. So and I knew that I like to watch people on the internet. So before I
mhm.
go through and I invest into something, I have no problem buying a course from anyone.
Yeah.
But I watch that person to determine, okay, is this person going to be able to help me with what I'm trying to achieve? And hands down, as far as video, I'm like, okay, that's a no brainer that I know that she can help me with video. And I know that I need to get some better skills in video in order to be able to do what I'm trying to do. So yeah, it was a no-brainer after interacting with you and watching your content.
Thank you for sharing that. That is so powerful. I think just the lesson there is how we communicate and how we show up to share value specifically. I think a lot of times in the online space, we get so confused with people who are entertainers and comedians having like
Mhm.
lots of views and going viral. And as business owners, we start thinking we need to be doing the same thing in order to make money. And a lot of times, those people aren't making any money or a
Exactly.
significant amount, or sometimes they are. If they're intentionally monetizing, in different ways. So I think a lot of people feel that if you don't have 100,000 subscribers, you can't make any money. And I want you to speak to that a little bit because I know that you are running a six-figure business and also and you don't have like a huge or a large audience, which I'm very proud of my micro audience. So I hope you're proud of yours too.
I am. I actually, it's funny because I was just talking to you about the live today, and that's what that was about leveraging YouTube for service-based businesses. And definitely, I that is my philosophy that you do not need a lot of views, a lot of subscribers in order to be successful, especially if you're doing video content or YouTube or whatever for your business. Like I like I just we just hit 12,000 subscribers just like last week. Yeah,
Congratulations.
just like last week. And so I'm hype about that. Like you said, I'm hype about my micro
Yes.
audience, and of course appreciate everyone subscribing and following me. But the thing about it is I before I even had 1,000 subscribers, I was still making money on YouTube without being monetized at the time. Of course, I'm monetized now, but I didn't have to be monetized in order to be able to make money because all I had to do was position my content and my products and my digital products in front of the right people. So it doesn't require you to have a lot of subscribers or a lot of views and anything like that in order to be successful.
I completely agree. Listen, it's something that I preach and say all the time because I think we just live in a we're living in a season of large is in charge, and while that is possibly true in some ways, it's not always just everything that people are saying
Exactly.
it is. I now that we've kind of established that, because I feel like we were speaking in a way to where you were in the Facebook group and things like that, and so people may not understand that we have definitely interacted on every single social media platform
Yes. Yes.
or in every way possible. So just wanting them to have an idea of, all of that. Kenniqua, I want to know, you spoke about like being so excited by using content to attract or not even to attract, which is what I love about what you said. You were sharing content that you felt like was going to be helpful for your audience. And that turned into companies or other businesses or brands reaching out to you to work with you. What are your thoughts about that? Because I share that so often. Like, if you want to be on television, get on camera and show your talk, share, show people why they should work with you or hire you. What do you feel like is the connection of like that whole thing? Because I love that you're just full blown experiencing it and so excited about everything that's unfolding for you and everything that is going to unfold for you as you continue along your journey.
Yes, I think that it's just video is so powerful. It's so powerful. I mean, there's things that of course you can blog, you can do a lot of other things, but I feel like video allows for people to really get to know you, your personality. And I know even for myself and even just speaking for personality, you can't always get my personality through every single video. Sometimes our how-to videos, they're boring sometimes, right? But I feel like video is just the way that you can really start to get to know people. And it's to me the quickest and easiest way that I can go through and provide value to someone.
Completely agree. And will forever be singing that song because I've seen my life change. I've seen the lives of people I've worked with completely change. And it's always so amazing to see that. And also to see
Mhm.
people just push through and past that 6-figure mark in business, because we all know that's the coveted, although it's not something that I push forward anymore in my marketing
Mhm.
because now I don't care about speaking about that, but it is something that people really desire to get to or connect to,
Mhm.
right? Being in that space of 6 figures. Oh my gosh. Can you share with us what your first video was like and how you felt recording your first video?
Oh, okay. So my first video was I didn't show my face in my first video. So it was just a screen share. I think I was sharing like some type of tutorial or something like that. I want to say it's something like how to use Acuity or something, Acuity scheduling. But I just did a screen share. I did not show my face in my first maybe 2 or 3 videos. And then I upgraded to, okay, I'm going to do screen shares with just the little circle at the bottom so you could just see a little portion of my face. And I did a couple videos like that. And then I went and did the full blown video. Like, from just because I've been in your group probably since the very beginning of me doing YouTube. So I've had so many different spaces, so many different backgrounds, cameras trying to figure out. I think I even asked you now, just in the last few months, about a camera question. Yeah, so it's definitely been a journey. I would definitely say to most people, if you're thinking about your videos, that if you've never done video before, your first few videos are probably going to suck. Um, my first videos definitely, they definitely did suck. But I feel like as you go through and the more you do it, it's just you're improving 1%, 10%. Each and every time you're just going through and improving, you're knowing where you can make the tweaks and just start with what you have, really. You know, you can use your iPhone or whatever type of phone you have or camera you have. So
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like I did see all of those phases of your YouTube channel.
I think that you
Uh,
did.
but what I really love is just you pushing through. And I loved your tenacity and like just how interested you always were in just getting better, improving. Like I've seen you build, shift space, build. I mean, you've seen me do the same thing. Like,
Yes, absolutely.
shift and build and keep going. And that's really what this journey is about. I think a lot of people feel like their videos should look like, the best version of somebody else's videos on the first try. Like they're supposed to
Mhm.
know everything on the first try, not fumble on the first try. Like, and that's not what it is at all. So I love, love, love that you shared that. Um, Talk to us a little bit about just where you see yourself. Like, what does being brave on video look like for you in your next season?
Oh, on my next season, right now, well, I would say for right now, I just want to be, I'm not even gonna say be consistent because I've been very consistent, but now it's really about going live a lot. So I'm committing to myself, at least for the next few months, is I'm gonna go live every Tuesday on YouTube and stream to multiple platforms, but I am just gonna go live and go live with no script. Of course, I'll have some points, but just go live and just share and just try to share, build community that way as well. So definitely just going live. It's funny enough that I don't go live that often on Instagram. For some reason, I'm a little scared of going live on Instagram. Like I've done it twice and it has not been that bad, but it's just I don't know, it's kind of like a little fearful thing. I went live with someone for the very first time I think a couple weeks ago where I did a guest live and I'm like, oh my god, I don't even know what buttons do I push. I don't even know because I've never done it before. So I guess it's still like a little scary part when it comes to doing that. You would think it didn't matter, but it does to me. But I guess just trying to be bold and just do more lives like on the spot. Let's just go at it right here on the spot.
I love that for you. I love that. I'm so excited to see you like just continue going. And I'm really excited to see what this next phase looks like for you in business. Super, super excited. Uh, Lives is I feel like they're the best community builder ever,
Mhm.
like out of everything. So I'm excited to see you go into that space of like even like on Instagram, it is different. I will say. My live strategy right now is going to include YouTube on the shorts feed and Instagram at the same time so that you still have an audience, like, on Instagram, on YouTube. Like, I use Ecamm. So with Ecamm, you can stream to those two platforms in
Okay.
vertical. And so just if you're looking for, just plug in Instagram so that you still did it, but you don't have to think about it as a
You don't
whole
have to think about
separate
it.
thing,
Yeah.
you
And what's
know?
funny is because when I did the live today, I was trying to do that, but Instagram was down when I was trying to do it.
I
Instagram was, I
know.
said the first time the Instagram would be down when I'm trying to do
You're
it.
so right. First of all, I did not even know Instagram was down. It's funny. My mom, I spoke to her this morning and she's like, I can't get onto Facebook and everything is down. And because I do have my times where I'm not on social media. And so this week I'm working on a few important projects. I'm so excited to share soon, but I'm not like on socials and I'm like, oh shit. But it's also so quiet in my head and in my house because I'm like, I'm not on socials. So that feels good. But I'm so sorry it was down when you were trying.
Yeah, it was fine. I still went to what did I do? I did YouTube. I was using StreamYard. So I was in
Yeah.
StreamYard for people who signed up, YouTube and Face. Well, I'm not even even sure if it was working in Facebook because Facebook was down too. But
Right.
we'll try again next week.
There you go. And you said you're gonna do it over anyway. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna do another one over.
yeah, Kaniqua, what would you want to say to someone who is completely petrified of getting on camera, but also they know that they have something to share with this world? Like, what would you say specifically to that person, even if it's speaking from your own experience?
Absolutely. I would say just go for it. Just do it. You're gonna feel much better after you do it. After you do it that first time, you're gonna be like, oh man, that really wasn't that bad. And then you'll realize that the more you do it after you work that muscle, it's kind of like working out. Like once you work that muscle, you lift the first time, yeah, you're a little sore, but the more you continue to lift, you start getting stronger. And that's what happened for me. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened for a lot of others that have gone
Literally.
before me as well as too. So I would just say just go for it and just try it. And just it doesn't have to be long. Sometimes I think we have to go for like an hour. You don't.
So
Go
true.
live or something like that or record, jump on video for 5-10 minutes and be done with
Yes.
it, and get back on it again.
Kaniqua, thank you for being here. If you can share with us like what you have going on right now that you feel like the audience might be interested in, we'll be sure to place a link down below at the bottom of this episode so that they can log on and grab whatever it is. I would love that.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, I actually just launched a brand new community. It's called the Just Launch It Networking Club. Anyone can join. It
Ooh,
is free to join. It's for creatives, consultants, coaches, and it's just a
yes.
community where we all come together to network, to bounce ideas off of one another, get accountability. So you can go to justlaunchit.community to sign up for free.
Yes. Hello. So if you want to be a part of the Just Launch It Club, is it just because they're launching something? Like what made you give it that
Yes,
name?
so it's Just Launch It. So I named it Just Launch It because it's launching anything. So you're launching
I
your
love that.
ebook, you're launching your business, you're launching your course. It's launching anything. The community is really just about pushing the go-getters just to go get it, just to
Uh,
do the thing.
I love that. I love that. Congratulations on that. That's a really fire concept because that's the thing that people are most afraid of doing, like
Absolutely.
taking the step to launch the thing. So, also, where can we find you on socials if we do want to dive more into what you're doing?
Sure. So most of the time I hang out on YouTube, of course. It's under my name,
Yes.
Kenniqua J. And then you can also find me on Instagram at Katie Jones CS LLC.
Awesome. Well, we will be putting that information down below as well. Kaniqua, thank you, girl. Thank you for
Thank
being here
you.
with us.
Thank
I
you. Thank you
appreciate
for
you
having me.
so much. And even for just being brave enough to say, hey, girl, hey, me.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
appreciate you so much. Thank you for being a part of the Brave on Video podcast. I don't take just any of your interaction for granted because you've been like along the way, along for the ride. So genuinely want to say I appreciate you so much, and I'm so enjoying and loving seeing just you float amongst the stars and the clouds and the like, just seeing you in the sky right now, and wishing you so much like abundance and blessings and joy in your business as you grow.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I'm wishing you the same. You definitely have helped me a lot during my journey. Like some of the may even sound like simple things. I'm like, I ain't never think about that. I need to raise my computer up and I just everything. So but definitely you've played a huge part of how I actually show up on camera today. So
Aw,
I
thank you,
appreciate it.
Kaniqua. I appreciate you. All right, guys, we will see you in the next episode. Take care.
Bye.